Welcome, everybody, to another QB Power Hour. Today's topic is options for accessing QuickBooks Online. Thank you guys all for joining us today. We're going to go through a little bit about the QB Power Hour, our sponsors and guest speakers, the CPE process, upcoming live events. We've got an update for you on the new ACE requirements for Advanced Certified ProAdvisors with Dan Lowell joining us. And then the bulk of the session today, we're going to be talking about options for accessing QuickBooks Online. We've got Micah with Intuit joining us for that section as well. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Michelle Long. I am a CPA and the owner of Long for Success, the author of several different books. You can check those out on Amazon.com if you're interested in those. And I'd also invite you to join me in the LinkedIn group or the Facebook group. We've got thousands of people out there chatting and sharing questions and helping one another, so please join one of those groups. Hector, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Can you move the slide over? You didn't have the slides moved. Yes. Hi, everybody.
Yeah, it's there now. It's on
Okay.
you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Hector Garcia. I'm a CPA, QuickBooks ProAdvisor Advanced, QuickBooks ProAdvisor in Miami, Florida. I teach QuickBooks and do QuickBooks consulting for a living, and very excited to be here today.
So a little bit about QB Power Hour. It is a webinar series. We usually do it every other week. Our next episode will be on May 12th. We've got a little bit of time in between now and the next episode. So May 12th, Hector's going to be covering inventory and light manufacturing. On May 17th, I will be doing it, and that's a special day. Notice it's Tuesday instead of Thursday. We will be talking about some topics dealing with converting from desktop to QuickBooks Online. We're going to clarify that title for you soon. But normally we cover tips, tricks, and advanced insights with both desktop and QuickBooks Online. And often we bring in a special guest to help cover some third-party apps, practice management, or other topics that will be useful for you. Our official sponsors are primarily Hector and my business, Long for Success, and QuickBooks Keeping and Accounting. But we do often bring on third-party developers or other speakers that we vetted and make sure that it's very useful information for you. We are not officially sponsored by Intuit, although they are sponsoring this webinar, and we do work closely with Intuit throughout the year for announcements and things like that. As for CPE, keep in mind that if you do need CPE, continuing professional education credit, you have to attend the live webinar. It's not available if you're watching this recording on YouTube. You've got to be logged in live for at least 50 minutes. We will give you a CPE password or keyword throughout the webinar, and you write that down. Then somewhere near the end of the webinar, answer the poll question in order to get your CPE credit, and then allow up to 3 weeks to get your CPE certificates emailed to you. I also wanted to update you quickly on the Ultimate Accounting VCon. These are upcoming live events. May 12th and 13th, Sandy Smith-Leva and I have the award-winning Ultimate Accounting VCon. We've got lots of great topics this year, as well as some Shark Tank alums who are going to be guest speakers. So come and join us. Just go to accountingvcon.com and check out the details for that and read some of the rave reviews from people who have attended in the past. Also, I'm thrilled to say we're all going on the road again. The Firm of the Future and QBO Cert Prep is coming to various cities across the United States. I think there's 17 different cities that we're coming to. I would love to have you join me next week. I'll be in D.C., and so I'd love to have you join us. Actually, next week is D.C. and I think Philly. I will be in D.C. doing the Firm of the Future, but go to that link there and you can register for those. Those are free, and I encourage you to attend those and join us for those, especially the Firm of the Future. I'm doing those and I'm really looking forward to that. Then also we've got Scaling New Heights coming up in May. It's not too late to go. It's a great opportunity to bring the family and combine a little vacation with your training experience as well. And then in October we have QuickBooks Connect, another fabulous conference that if you can attend is a great one to go to. Last year we had Oprah there. I can't wait to see what they have in store for us this year. Okay, we do have Dan Lowell on with us today. Dan is a global accountant education leader, and because it is Throwback Thursday, we got an old picture there. Dan, I've been working with you a long time. That's from 2009. How are you doing, Dan?
I'm doing great, and yeah, we have been working together for a long time because we go back even further than this picture.
I think so, yeah. So it's always a pleasure to work with Dan. I really enjoy it. So Dan, do you want to update us on the new ACE requirements?
Yeah, I would love to, and thank you to you and Hector for having me back on the show here. We're really excited about being able to finally launch this all-new advanced continuing education for ProAdvisors, offering certified ProAdvisors. That's the part that we like. It's for advanced certified desktop ProAdvisors and advanced certified online ProAdvisors. And it's an offering that should be a lot more personalized and flexible for you guys, for all the advanced certified ProAdvisors, and hopefully in the end we'll end up saving time too. We realize there's a lot of time and effort put into these certifications, and we're trying to look at that and see how we can create a much more delightful experience with the continuing education offering at least. So we've heard the feedback on what's out there currently, and we know it's outdated. It gave people little opportunity for choice, and wasn't very useful for a lot of people. So we took that feedback to heart and went back to the table and really sat down to try and create an offering, like I said, that we thought would be much more flexible and hopefully save time. So as you can see on there, here's how the offering really works. For all of the advanced certified desktop ProAdvisors and online ProAdvisors, you still have to stay current with the certifications, with the yearly certifications. For online, it's every 365 days. For desktop, it's after the new release, typically sometime in November, and you just have to take that recertification. But the way the new ACE offering works is really that you get to choose the training topics that are important to you, and you get to take them in the delivery channels that you may already be attending. Right now, we've got 11 different topics that are being offered. They equal 21 different CE credits, continuing education credits, and there's a lot more to come, which is really cool. And they're delivered by live conference, their classroom sessions, their live webinars, and we'll continue to build out where these are offered in hopes that it ends up being at the places that you're going, the QB Power Hours, the Scaling New Heights conferences, the QuickBooks Connect conferences, and any other types of webinar channels or live settings. And it's really around, you just need to collect 9 ACE-approved credits within 3 years, and then every 3 years thereafter. And that's the whole idea. And all of the content is developed and delivered and maintained by a select group of influential ACE-approved training sponsors, such as Michelle and Hector with QB Power Hour, or the Woodard team that puts on Scaling New Heights and Insightful Accountant, and Mendelsohn Academy, where Mario also has a live classroom that does a lot of great advanced topics. And there'll be more training partners to come too. So be on the lookout for all of the ACE-approved courses and topics that will be being delivered over the next couple of years, and hopefully that will be a delightful program for all of you to be able to continue on in that advanced journey.
Super. Thank you, Dan. Now, we do have a few questions. The first question is about the CPE credits, and are they good for NASBA and CPA, CPE? So the people who are ACE-approved training partners, we already were NASBA approved and providing CPE. So now, though, when you go, because somebody also asked if all the QB Power Hours are part of it, if you go to qbpowerhour.com, you'll see a list of upcoming webinars. Only certain ones are ACE approved. All of the QB Power Hours are eligible for CPE. We have the NASBA certification and all that stuff, but only certain ones are ACE approved. Because Intuit, you guys put together a team, Dan. I think you and Trudy call them the Tiger team. They approve the topics, and so they're ACE approved by other peers, not just Hector and I coming up with an idea, but there's other peers. Isn't that right, Dan?
Yeah, that is correct. There is actually an ACE advisory team that we've put together of your peers, and they are the ones that are vetting the actual topics, so that we're not just anything that a certain training partner offers is necessarily good for ACE continuing education. So they have to be the ones that have been vetted and approved as truly an advanced topic.
Very good. Now, we've got someone who's asking, too, does this also apply to Canada? And I'm pretty sure the answer is no, but I'll let you answer that.
Yeah, so right now the answer is no. The ProAdvisor program in Canada is different than slightly different than the program here in the U.S., but we are working to bring them much closer together and roll a similar program like this out in Canada, hopefully very shortly, and globally shortly too.
Very good, very good. So Dan, what is the transition? If I'm advanced certified right now, can I still go in and do that one ACE course, and would that renew me for 3 years? Or because you say these are effective May 22nd, is there kind of a transition period right now?
Yeah, well, basically the courses will start, the ACE approved courses will start being offered May 22nd. So right now, the only option to move forward would be to go to the one course that's currently in the ProAdvisor portal, and you can do that up until May 22nd. After that, that one will be sunset, and we will start moving forward with the new offering that we have and the multiple topics that could be taken.
Okay, very cool. And I saw a couple of other questions about how do you become a ProAdvisor and things like that, and I see that they put the link in for you. I just would like to mention that it is free to join the Qbo ProAdvisor program to do the training and certification for QuickBooks Online. And then there's an option that's a paid version. There's the Deluxe and the Premium if you want to add on QuickBooks Desktop, QuickBooks Enterprise, QuickBooks Point of Sale, Mac. Go to proadvisor.intuit.com, and somebody had posted that link in there, and you could get those details. But I do encourage people to get certified and then start working on this advanced certification. And I'd say, Dan, I don't know about you, but once you pass that advanced test, you don't have to do it again. So make sure you do your ACE continuing education credit so you don't have to lose your certification. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, absolutely agree with you 100%. Yeah, that was one of the things we were trying to avoid was taking up people's time again by making them go back and retake a certification like that. It's a lot of time and a lot of effort. We know that, but it's also extremely beneficial, as we've heard. But yeah, this is really all about just continuing to learn at an advanced level in a way that helps you in your practice. That's the thinking here. So you could be advanced desktop certified and still take an online advanced ACE approved course, and vice versa. As long as it's helping you grow in your practice, that's the idea. So and hopefully that will work for everybody.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Dan, and I'm glad to see that Intuit keeps putting the resources in these new programs and coming up with these updates, because I think this is going to be beneficial for those of us that do need the ACE credit. So thank you very much, and thank you for joining us today. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah,
I hope to see you soon. I'll be down in Dallas in a couple of weeks.
Great. I'll see you then.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Thanks, Dan. Great to have Dan. That's always a pleasure. Okay, so now let's talk about the options for accessing QuickBooks Online and QuickBooks Online accountants. And before we get into this, I'm going to go ahead and launch a poll question for you guys. Now, this is not the CPE poll question, but it's going to give us an idea of where you're at. So in the past 3 months, how have you accessed QuickBooks Online? And unfortunately, I couldn't pick all of the ones that apply. So which one do you use most frequently? Do you most frequently go through a browser? Do you use the mobile app? Do you use the desktop app? Which method are you using most frequently? And we're going to be going through all 4 of these. Micah, I'll introduce him just a second. We're going to go through each one of these and demonstrate to you the different ways that you can access QuickBooks Online and QuickBooks Online Accountant. There's no one right way. It's really which do you prefer. And so we'll talk about some of the pros and cons. And then also, in addition to the handouts for the slides, you have a separate handout that we put together that's a nice chart. Nancy, thank you for working on that with us. That's a nice handout for you on the different versions, because you may be accessing it one method. Like, let's say you go through Chrome on your desktop, and your client might be using the desktop app. So we'll help you to understand the differences between those. Okay, most of you have voted, so I'm going to go ahead and close this poll. And this is interesting. I'll share the results with you so you can see 90% of you are going through a browser on your desktop like Chrome or Firefox. 7% are using the Qbo Online app for mobile devices, and then only 3% through a browser on a tablet. Not many of you at all, as in 0, are using the mobile app. Well, that's really interesting. Okay, well, super. Thank you guys for answering that. That's good to know. Micah, I'm glad to have you on here. Would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yep, so my name's Micah. I am a senior manager at Intuit, and I primarily work in the care department.
Hector, I think you need to mute yourself.
What does that matter?
Sorry, go ahead, Micah.
Yeah, so I've been at Intuit for about 5 years. I've been a small business owner before. I've probably met quite a few of you at the various conferences and things that we put on, and also that Woodard and Sleater put on as well. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for joining me today, and I think this is going to be great as you and I go through and talk about the differences and demonstrate some of the differences. So first of all, we're going to start with the browser from the desktop, and this is what 90% of you said you were doing, where you're using Chrome or you're using Firefox. Don't use IE. A lot of times things just plain don't work right with it, and I've also heard that with Windows 10, the new Edge, I've heard some issues about it as well. So I recommend Chrome. That's the one I prefer the most, but Firefox would work as well. And it allows you to log in from any device and any computer. And this really became apparent to me. I was presenting at a conference in Curacao one year over Thanksgiving, and I couldn't get my computer to connect to the internet. Well, normally I just turn my phone on as a hotspot and then I can connect to the internet. But this is international data rates, right? I'm a cheapskate. I didn't want to do that. All I had to do, I borrowed somebody else's computer, went in through Chrome or Firefox, and actually with Chrome, I was able to log in with my own user information. So I had my own custom bookmark bar. I had my own QBO. I was able to log in from any device, anywhere, any computer. So that's really great. And then that icon and bookmark bar, creating that really provides one-click access. And a lot of people switching from desktop to QuickBooks Online, they like having an icon bar going across the top. And you can do that with Chrome or Firefox or with the browser. One of the other things that I really like is the ability to have those multiple users in Chrome. You can't do that in Firefox. You can have multiple users, which allows you to open multiple QuickBooks companies, and it also allows you to have one dedicated QBO user so that you can clear your cache and cookies and not mess things up. And I'll show you this in just a moment. The other thing that I love about going through Chrome or Firefox is the ability to right-click on anything and open that in a new window. So if I want to open an invoice, I can right-click on it, open it in a new window or a new tab, if you will. So being able to right-click saves me quite a bit of time. I like that. And I also found that when I'm in QBOA, it's faster to switch between clients. So if I want to go between different clients, QuickBooks companies, it's faster, I think, than the desktop app that we're going to show you in just a little bit. So just as a reminder, when you're in QBO through Chrome or QBOA through Chrome, this is that bookmark bar or that icon bar that I was talking about. And in just a minute, I'll put the link in there for a video that shows you how you can create this. But once I go into a company, let's say I go into Larry's Landscaping, and again, thank you, Woody, for allowing us to use your samples. I love it. But let's say I'm in Larry's Landscaping. With one-click access, I can click this, and it's going to take me directly into the chart of accounts if that's what I wanted to go into. Or I can go into the Reconcile window. And the beautiful thing about these bookmarks, except for when you bookmark a specific account register, these bookmarks up here, or the one-click icon bar, will work for whatever client you're logged into, because it's just a URL up here. Whichever client I happen to be into, if I switch from Larry's over to Beautiful Landscaping, these bookmarks up here will still work except for one specific register. So that's why I bookmarked the chart of accounts instead of, say, the check register, because the check register may have different account IDs from one company to another. When I was talking about the multiple users in Chrome, this is where you can see, if I click on this little QBO in the upper right corner, see where it says switch person? You can see I have multiple profiles. I use the puppy dog for my normal web browsing. I have this one where I have my pop-up blocker turned on so I can show what happens when you don't allow pop-ups. Here's the one that I use all the time for QBO, and then here's the one I use for QBOA. So I can be logged in under two different users and have two different companies companies open, or as many users as I have. I can have multiple companies open. You can set those up under the little 3 menu thing here. If you go under settings, you would be able to go down and add additional people. See where it says people? You just add another user there. You can only do that in Chrome. I haven't checked Firefox lately, but you used to not be able to do that in Firefox. And then also I mentioned the one-click access. I love being able, like if I wanted to see this invoice here, if you right-click, open in a new window, you can right-click on anything and have it open in a new window or a new tab, if you will. So I really love the right-click access. I can do that over here on my reports, open this in a new tab, and you'll see it opens up another window. And I'll put in the chat window here in just a minute a link to a video that shows you these things. Just like on the plus, I could right-click and open this in a new tab. So you've got that, and you also have some keyboard shortcuts. But in QuickBooks Desktop or QuickBooks Online, it takes 3 keys to get to these shortcuts. You're going to see how that's different in the desktop app in just a minute. But you do have keyboard shortcuts as well. So that's accessing QuickBooks Online from a normal browser on your desktop. Micah, do you want to talk to him now about the desktop app that's available?
Sure.
And
so I'm going
to go ahead and change the presenter to you so you can show us. On Mac, I believe you're going to show us, correct?
Yes.
All right. So you just there we go. We can see your screen already. Perfect. Thank you.
Awesome. So I've already installed the Mac app, and so we have 2 apps. We have the Mac app and we have a Windows app. The Mac app is a couple years old, so it's been out a little bit longer, a little bit more mature. The Windows app has been out for about 8 months, but we're constantly pushing updates to it. So if you run into a problem, please come back and try it, a couple of different times in the future. We just pushed an update last week. So you'll notice some differences on the company selection screen between the Mac and the Windows app. So here, right away, I'm sure if you've logged into QBO, you can see here that it doesn't look like the company selection screen in the browser. We're working on updating that, but I'm going to go ahead and open my accountant app. And one thing I also want to show you real quick actually is this option to stay signed in. So what this does is it actually allows the client to stay signed in throughout the day, but then also when you shut down your computer and open the client up the next day or the app, you'll just automatically go right into your company and be logged in. So you don't have to sign in every time. It's one of the benefits of using the apps. So I'm going to launch into my QBO account. And so now I'm inside my QBO client list, and it's loading. And this is a test account, so it's trying to bill wholesale, and it's telling me it's canceled. But it looks just like the browser with some very interesting differences. So everything inside this window essentially works just like you were in a browser with the exception of certain things. So I'm going to go ahead and load into a company to show you those different things and then show you some of the menu items that are available that make using the app a little bit different and probably easier, maybe some of the in different ways, and then also makes it really comfortable for desktop users. So one of the things you'll notice is when I highlight over creating an invoice or something, I've got this little icon here. And what this allows me to do is open that invoice into a new window. I can also do this with the use of shortcut keys. And so I've got Create up here, which is somewhat like the desktop. The menus are a lot different, right? We've kind of organized them different than desktop, but you'll notice there's a company menu just like there is in desktop. And again, some different things in there, but you can see all the different shortcut keys. So essentially I can press on a Mac, Command-I, and it should open an invoice, right? And it's opening it in the same window, which is normal, because I can actually choose under Preferences if I want to open new items in the windows. So again, you've got all these different things in here, and one of the recent changes that we made to the apps is for when you log in as an accountant, we removed the Switch Company dropdown because we want you to use this here. It works better for accountants. Some of the other things that you'll notice is not so much inside of I apologize for that. Not so much inside of QBOA, but when you're in your client's company, and even if your client's using the app, when you're navigating to the customer list, it'll load a lot faster. What we're doing in the background is we're caching some of this information so that we're not relying so much on pulling the data from the internet all the time. You'll see that the vendor list loads really quickly. Employees is not cached right now because it's a payroll service typically, and so that's not cached. But we're definitely caching customers in the vendors tab. A lot of the labs plugins do actually work in the clients, but everything pretty much works the same. The other great thing about the clients, and I think this is the most valuable piece for accountants, is let's say that I've got a profit and loss open, right? So actually I'm going to open it in a new window. For some reason, it's not opening in a new window. But if I had opened it in a new window, it essentially, I can keep that window open. And if I were to go in and change something on a customer, and it's like, oh, this profit and loss doesn't look right, let me go edit that. When I make that change, it's essentially going to allow, the report's going to refresh in the background. Did you want to comment, Michelle? Is that you?
No, I'm sorry. I thought I had muted myself. I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries, no worries.
Hey, Micah, could you make that window full screen?
Yeah. Can you see that better now?
Yeah.
Yes, that's good.
Awesome. I had to minimize and for some reason I'm not getting this to open in a new window, which is really odd. But the reports and any screens that you have open auto refresh. One thing you want to keep in mind though, if you do open, say you have an invoice window open, one thing you want to be careful is not to go to the main window and switch companies, because it'll throw this window off. So that's one thing you want to be careful of. So I'll just go in here and do the reports this way and show you how this works. So now I've got a profit and loss open, and let's say that my income's showing 300 for services. So if I were to go in here and accept the payment from a customer, actually I'm just going to write a check because it's easiest to do. So I go in here and write a check. If I pull up the window for the report and just check and see, I'm just going to hit the payroll tax account. So I go in and change this. You should see this report update by $10. And I must have the dates off. Yeah, I have the wrong dates on here. But it will refresh.
Yeah, that is one of the things I love, Micah, is the fact that it auto-refreshes. So when you have these multiple windows open and you enter something, it will automatically refresh your P&L or whatever your report you have. Whereas with the Chrome, logging in through Chrome like I showed a while ago, you would have to refresh that tab or that window yourself. I like that auto-refresh in here.
Right, exactly.
And it does that, you know, he's showing the app on the Mac. I'm going to show you the one on Windows in just a moment. It does the same thing on the Windows desktop app.
But I'll show you the other thing about the Mac app is this little, what we call Quick View. This is not in the Windows app yet. We're working on that. The problem with the Windows app, or not the problem, but the problem with Windows in general is we've got Windows 10, you've got Windows 8, you've got Windows 7. With Windows 10, you've got this really nice notification area, but with Windows 7, which most customers use, and even Vista and things like that, there is no notification area. And so we're working on utilizing that notification area to do something like this, right? So this is basically, and I don't have to necessarily have the app open and in full view. This quick view will actually show anything that I need to know about, oh, well, there's 159 transactions that need attention inside of QuickBooks. And so I can click categorize, and it's going to take me into a new window to categorize those transactions that came in. So it's a really cool way to kind of have that quick view into what's going on inside of a company file. Go ahead.
Micah, can I ask you a quick question? So one
Sure.
of the things that I've noticed working with the Windows desktop app for QuickBooks Online is when I log in, when I go to log in, it wants me to log in to my accounting firm. Like I'll see the list of companies, which will be my accounting firm and my client names, and it always wants me to log into the accounting firm first and then go into a client. Is that correct? On the Mac app as well?
Yes.
Okay.
So you can log directly into a client's account, but then you're going to lose some of the powerful things about QBOA. So if you wanted to just go into a client's account, there's nothing that keeps you from doing that. I'm actually going to show you. So I'm just going to quit real quick and then relaunch it, and you can see it just pops up. I quit it again. I reload it. It's because I stay signed in, so it's automatically just bringing me back to where I was, and I can navigate just like I was logged in. So it's not asking me to log in again.
Right. You know, and one of the things that is one of the best things, and one of the other things that a lot of people like, especially those people that have been longtime desktop users, those people that got used to using the menus. You know, just like I said in Chrome, you can recreate kind of an icon bar. Well, here in the desktop app, you've got the menu bar, which a lot of desktop users are very comfortable with the menu bar. They like to keep using the menu bar, and this app here gives them that, the ability to do that. So it kind of makes the transition a little easier for some.
Yeah, and we've also got this favorites feature. So you can actually favorite any page, and this is company specific. So if I were to switch to a different client in here, to like Micah and Larry's Landscaping instead of this one, this favorite doesn't follow you. So this is very company specific, unlike what Michelle was showing in the Chrome browser. And we do that on purpose because you might want different bookmarks for different companies. And because of that chart of account issue, if you want to bookmark accounts receivable or the checking account, you can do that to register, and that will only follow in that client account.
And now I have a question. Those are user specific though, aren't they? The favorites?
Correct.
Okay, so we would have to help our clients. If we wanted them to set up certain ones for what their workflow should be, we'd have to help them to set that up, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. Just like you would with the browser, yes.
Right, right.
The great thing though is I hear from a lot of customers that they're not using this as much because of this. And the other difference between the thin clients, the shortcuts the shortcuts in the apps versus the shortcuts on the browser is that the app shortcuts are 2 keys, where you'll notice like when Michelle pulled up the shortcuts on the browser, there are 3 keys. So this again is more kind of desktop-like, and the reason we can do that is because we're inside of our own app that we've built versus a browser where if I were to do Command-I in a browser, that means something different to the browser versus QuickBooks Online.
Right, and that's another thing that makes it easier for desktop users to convert to QuickBooks Online. They don't have to learn new shortcuts.
Right, right. The other thing, I know a pain point is that accountants don't have the recent transactions in the search feature here. In the apps, if you press Command F or Control F on the Windows app, you do get that menu to do that same search that your clients are doing. You still have that universal search for accountants up here, but you have easier access into that same kind of search that your customers are using. The other great thing is that because these apps are so new, we've got great product teams working on these, and they love to hear feedback. So if you're using one of the apps and you have feedback to share, please use the little feedback icon in the top right. You can still use the gear icon as well and do feedback there. It's the same thing pretty much. But if you do it from within the apps, we segment those specifically for the apps, and those go directly to those product teams, and so they love to hear feedback because we're working on making enhancements all the time.
Very good. Yeah, and also I should have showed that. That's a good point. In Chrome, you can also, or Firefox, you click on the gear within QBO to send the feedback in. So that is a good point. You guys, I know Intuit does look at the comments and feedback that people send in. And Micah, that actually leads me into a poll question. I was going to launch this poll question. Let's see how, for the past 3 months, how would you describe your experience using the desktop app for either Windows or Mac? So what Micah was just demonstrating, he was showing the desktop app for Mac, but it's essentially the same except for the differences that he pointed out in Windows. So what's your experience if you've been using it? If not, you can mark the last one there that says I haven't used it. What's your experience been? And also, if you have comments that you would like the product managers to see, we will be sharing all your questions and comments with them. So go ahead and type that in the question box. So you could go ahead and put that in. Somebody's asking about CPE. We're going to get to that in a few minutes. So go ahead and answer this poll question quickly, and also type in any comments that you'd like to have the product manager see. This is your chance to, you know, you can do it through the feedback, but also this is going to go directly to them as well. So type those in there. I know some of you have already been asking some questions as well. So what Mac version are you demonstrating on? Patty wants to know. Micah, what version were you demonstrating on?
Of the app or the OS? So the app is the latest version, and so that
she said OS.
OS.
She wanted to know the operating system.
It's a good question. I don't think I've done the latest update yet, so I'm on 10.10.4.
Yeah, and so somebody says, do you recommend all clients start using the app? Jerry, it kind of depends on the clients and their preference. Some people, like we said, the longtime desktop users, they're going to like the menus. They like the same keyboard shortcuts. They may like the auto refresh. They may like getting away from logging in all the time and doing that multi-factor authorization code all the time. So you may have people who really like that. You may have people like, I really like the top icon bar, and I can't do the top icon bar in the desktop app. You know, so some people like the top menu bar, some like the top icon bar. So it really is personal preference. There's no one right or wrong answer for you on that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close that poll question, and I'll share the results. 61% of you haven't used it, so hopefully now that you've learned more about it, you're going to use it some more. 19% have had some mixed. Just a couple of people had a poor experience. I would encourage you to contact support, and perhaps they can help you with that. Okay, Micah, I'm going to have to take control again. Did you want to show anything else before we leave here?
Nope, I think that's it.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take control again so I can share the CPE keyword. And also in your handouts, there's 2 handouts you got. One's a PowerPoint slide where we broke it down for each one that we're covering. And then the other one is a handout that you have, like a big handout, 2-page handout with all this detail on it. Okay, the CPE keyword is ACE. Wouldn't it be great to get 4 ACEs or take ACE continuing education credits? ACE, write down the CPE keyword, ACE. Okay, so write down the CPE keyword is ACE. And Robert says the app works just fine on El Capitan. So he's reporting it works great on that. It works the same. Somebody says they like the old version of the app, but the new version, somebody said they didn't like some of the new versions and they haven't used it for a while. Second handout is not working. I posted a new link. Try that new link there. Okay, so try that new link. ACE, one more time, write down ACE because we have to move along. Okay, and just real quickly, I was going to show you here, this is the Windows app that Micah was just showing you, so it looks the same. You still can switch and go into a particular client. The Windows app looks essentially the same as what he was showing you. So keep that in mind. Again, this is something that you can go download. You can go to apps.com and you can find it there and you can download it and you can then use this desktop app if you prefer, okay? Now, there's another option that we wanted to talk about, and that's the mobile app, okay? So there are mobile apps. When your clients are out and about and they're, you know, purchasing supplies at the hardware store or they want to invoice a client out at the field or out on the job, you know, you got plumbers, electrician, lawn and landscape companies. A lot of these people want to be able to use a mobile device or a mobile app. So what you have here, this is my iPhone, Okay, so you can see the iPhone. Here's the QuickBooks app. Whoops, let me go ahead and touch that. I tried to click it on the screen. I'm such an idiot. Sorry about that. Okay, so I'm logging into the QuickBooks Mobile App. Okay, so there's a QuickBooks Mobile App. And in here, you can see I'm in Larry's Landscaping. You can see I can see recent activity. I can create notes on particular customers. Now, one of the things you do want to be aware of is, for example, here I've got a picture with this note for Mike. This attachment, this image, will not sync back to QuickBooks Online. When it's with a customer in their notes, that attachment is not going to sync back in there. However, if I come along and you can see there's my products and services list, customers and vendors, here's transactions. If I go under an expense transaction and I'm going to add an expense, watch what I can do, and this will take, let me just take a window. I have the privilege of having an office with a view. So I take a picture. Now you would have your clients take a picture of their receipt at the hardware store or whatever it is. And then you can say, okay, how did I pay for this? Let's say I paid for it with maybe I just paid for it with a check and it was $50. So we're going to be able to get our clients to do this. I can choose the account. Let's say, which account did it come out of? Let's take it out of the Chase checking account. Who did I pay? Let's just choose Atlanta Bread and Company. So you can put all kinds of details in here. What kind of an expense was this? You know, so I can come down here and let's say it was travel meals. Who was it for? If I want to assign it to a particular class, let's make this an indoor class. Any notes that I wanted to put out there. So you can put all these different notes and split it even if you wanted to. Put a memo there. When I click done and I click save, this now will sync it back into QuickBooks Online for you. And guess what? The attachment will be there. So this is where you can have your clients learn how to use the Qbo Mobile App when they're out and about working with their clients. They can receive payments from their clients. They don't have to write down the credit card and bring it back into the office. They're able to, if you've signed up for QuickBooks Payments, they're able to accept payments on their phone as well. So you've got all this out here, but notice you've got limited availability, like on reports. We've only got the P&L and the balance sheet. So it's limited functions. Also notice under transactions, I don't have the ability to enter bills. I can go into my banking transactions, but I can't reconcile. There's the things that are on the mobile app are the things that you would do on a mobile device. They're assuming that if you're entering bills, you're probably back in the office doing it and entering bills there. You don't have all of your reports on this mobile app. The mobile app is great for these clients to be able to do things on the field. So now what I'm going to do is let me show you. Let me go back into, here's Larry's Landscaping. Let's go under recent transactions. Let's see if it's synced yet. Actually, let me go in through Qbo because I prefer this one. All right, let's go in here and let's do refresh. I think I was in the right one. I may have messed this up. It's not coming through. Dang it. Who did I put it to? Atlanta Bread? I think I did Atlanta Bread, didn't I? Normally, you will see this in a matter of minutes. However, I may have logged into the wrong sample there. Oh, no, here we go. Here's the check. See the check here? Atlanta Bread and Bar. Look what happens when I pull this up. So remember, I entered this on my phone. Here's the Atlanta Bread. I put it to travel meals. And looky here. Look what we have. Here's the receipt that was attached, which is the picture that you just saw me take out of my window. How cool is that? So the trick is teach your clients to use that mobile app when they're out and about with travel expenses, when they go to the hardware store and they buy stuff for a particular customer or job. They can enter that on their mobile device, and then you in turn will see it and they will see it in QuickBooks. So it's all syncing together. I just love that. Somebody else said, love that. Very cool. You're right. That is very cool. So now what I wanted to do, let's go back into our slides. So Micah, would you like to mention the Qbo or the QB Payroll Mobile App?
Sure. So I think there's a real advantage to running with QuickBooks Online and QuickBooks Online Payroll, and I believe the QuickBooks Payroll Mobile App is one of those strong advantages. And the reason I say that is because I've been in care for quite a while, and I've talked to lots of different customers and even accountants. And one thing I always heard is, man, I wish I could run my payroll when I was out on vacation. How am I going to do this? Well, with the QuickBooks Payroll Mobile App, you can do just that. You can be in the Bahamas on the beach, pull out your mobile phone, and if you've got direct deposit and your e-file and e-pay set up, you can do all of your payroll from the beach right on the mobile app. So you can pay your taxes, you can process your direct deposit payroll, you can e-file your forms, all from the comfort of anywhere in the world. So it's one of those apps, because it's labeled Online Payroll Mobile App in the App Store and Google Play, that a lot of our customers don't understand that it actually works with QuickBooks Online Payroll and QBO. And all you have to do is make sure that your payroll is fully set up. And to really get the power of it, right, you want to have the direct deposit and the e-services set up already. But once those are set up, it's really simple to use, really, really quick to do. And it's a really great way to be able to run your payroll from anywhere.
Very cool. Yeah, it is. It's amazing how people, like you said, they can be sitting on the beach somewhere and they can do payroll. I mean, it's just amazing. So those are the mobile apps. Those are the things that you're using primarily on your phones, okay? But now, sometimes, when I showed you the mobile app on my phone and I mentioned how it was limited, that there wasn't everything available, well, now you also have the ability, though, to go in through a browser on your mobile device. So, I showed you Chrome from the desktop earlier. When you go through Chrome on your tablet, you are able to see almost everything, like 99% of everything, like when you're going in through the desktop. Let me check, though. I think we had another poll question. We do in just a moment. Okay, so let me go ahead and show you this. So just a second here. You guys should be able to see my iPad now. Do you see my iPad? Yes, so see right here, this was the QuickBooks Mobile App. Now, I don't actually want to go in through the mobile app, though, because remember, that's more limited. So I want to go back to my home page, and I want to go in through Chrome. See how I have Chrome and Safari apps? I prefer Chrome because, again, I can have my users. So if you go in through Chrome, I should have killed a bunch of these, sorry, qbo.intuit.com. Close. Sorry. Had way too many things open. Anyway, so when you go in through Chrome, I'm just going to sign in. I don't want to download the app. Whoops, and I just signed into the different one. Doggone it. Okay, back to sign in. Sorry, guys. I get a little nervous sometimes, and I don't think before I hit enter. Do you do that? Yes? I'm not the only one that does that. Now, I'm going to have to get this little code, but it should be texted to me, and it actually happens pretty quickly. So let me check my other device, which, by the way, there is an app for your Apple Watch. Now, it just shows you a little bit of information, but there is a QuickBooks app for your Apple Watch. So you can get that if you got an Apple Watch, and check that out as well. Okay, there it goes. So what I wanted to show you here is when you're on a tablet, which is because it's bigger. Now, if you got an iPhone 6 Plus and it's pretty big, you could do this on your tablet as well. But I'm going to go ahead and log in here. I'm going into the Adams Guild Gibson accounting firm. And you'll see in here, let's go ahead and go into Larry's Landscaping. You'll see in here that it is much more robust. It's like you're logging in through Chrome on your desktop. Whereas with the mobile app itself, I didn't have all of these reports and everything. But notice in here, it looks just like the desktop. Okay, so you can go into your transactions. Sorry. Oh my goodness. You can go into your transactions for banking. You can reconcile. You can do all of these things on here. It's like you're going through your browser on your desktop. So the lesson there is, if you want to use the mobile app, that's great for your clients and doing things on the go. But if you want to work on your tablet and have more full feature robust, then go through a browser on your tablet, either Chrome or Safari or something like that. Does that make sense? Okay, so let me go ahead and go back over here. And now one of the things we were going to do is we were going to answer some of your questions, as well as we've got another poll question for you. Let's see here. Okay, so, all right, you should be seeing this. There you go. Okay, so based on what you've learned today, are you guys going to try out the desktop app? Are you going to try out that desktop app? What do you think? Because a lot of you had not used that or not. Let's see if there's any questions that are flagged. What is the name of the software you use to demo the iPhone and the iPad? Stephanie, it's called Reflector 2. Reflector and the number 2, and it's from a company called Squirrels. Squirrels. I see squirrels running through the trees a lot. But there's a company that makes Reflector 2. And it's only $15 and it works great. Okay, any other questions that we have here? Somebody just installed it and had my employees install it too just a minute ago. Thank you, Michelle. Well, thank you, Sharon. And thank you, Micah, for sharing it with you. Okay, other questions that you guys have? Okay, so somebody says, does that receipt picture post the expense? So Beth, what I had to do in the mobile app was I clicked on the expense. I entered the details, so it's not going to read my receipt. But when I enter my details, $50, Atlanta bread, travel and meals, whatever class or client it was for, I could assign it to that. And then I took a picture of the receipt, and the receipt was attached to the expense. If you want an app that allows you to take a picture of the receipt and then it will scan it and read it for you and make the transaction for you, there's third-party apps that will do that. The Qbo Mobile App is free and it's included with your subscription. If you want something to read the receipts and make the entry for you, check out Expensify, check out Receipt Bank. So Expensify, Receipt Bank, I believe Concur. So look at some of those expense apps that you have available in the apps.com location. So check some of those out. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close this poll question for you, and we'll share it. So yes, 85% of you are going to do that, and 15% say no. Well, I'm glad 85% of you are going to do that. That's great. Hopefully you'll have some good experiences with that. And again, you've got to remember, you've got to figure out which one is right for your particular clients. Micah, do you want to add anything?
No, I think I think the biggest thing is you know, the Windows app and the Mac app, you might not always have your computer, so you're going to use the browser, you might use the mobile app. Really, the way QuickBooks Online is designed is so that you can access it from almost any device. And so we're not trying to be prescriptive on how we want you to access it. We're just trying to make it easy for you to access anywhere.
Very good. And that's one of the things, though, that I think as accounting professionals, we need to be aware that there are many ways to access QuickBooks Online. So if a client calls and they say, well, how do I do this? And you're telling them, well, go click on the gear, and they're like, I don't see a gear. You might need to ask them, well, what are you using? If they're using a different way to access it, let's say they're using their Qbo Mobile App, then they don't have the gear on there. So make sure that you're talking to the client about what they're using. Also, I think as accounting professionals, we should let them know about these different options. A lot of them may not realize that they can use their phone when they're out in the field to do things. This will help you so you don't get receipts that are lost and they're not turning them in, because they usually always have their phone with them. And it's really pretty easy for them to say what it was, where they bought it from, and to be able to post it, because usually the things that they're buying in the field are the same things all the time, like job materials and supplies, or it might be travel expenses with meals and gas and things like that. So usually those are relatively simple, normal transactions that they can do with their mobile app on their phone. So make sure that they're aware of that, as well as you are aware of that. Okay, Micah, I see that we got just a couple minutes left, so I'm going to go ahead and launch the poll question for the CPE poll word. However, I want you to be aware that we will stick around for a few minutes to answer some of your additional questions. So Micah has graciously agreed to stay around and answer some more of your questions for a few more minutes. So answer the CPE poll question, and while you're doing that, also, if you could, type in there, what one or two things would you like to see improved in the desktop app? In the desktop app for Windows or for Mac, what are some things that you would like to tell the product managers to improve there? I, for one, want to be able to right-click on something. In the desktop app, if I see something, I want to right-click, open it in a new window. So that's one of my requests of what I would like to have. What are things that you would like to have? Type those in the question box, and we will share those with the product managers, make sure they all get all this information. Alicia agrees with me. She wants the right click. Very cool. So somebody here is talking about, where did it just go? My issue with Qbo Windows app is the speed difference between that and Qbo on Chrome. It's much, much slower. Is this because of Win 7? Micah, would you like to address that question?
Which question was it? I'm answering other ones too.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, that's okay. So somebody says that when they use the Windows app, the desktop Windows app, that it seems much slower than when they go through Chrome, and they want to know if that's because of Win 7 or if it could be something else.
So a little bit because of Win 7. Also, what the Windows app is doing the first time you use it is it's caching information in the background, so it'll get faster as it does that. If you've been using it for a while, send that feedback in. Again, we're pushing updates to the Windows app quite often, addressing those things. One of the things you'll notice in the new version is canceled companies are now at the bottom, whereas previously you just saw all your canceled companies mixed in. And so we're listening, and we changed some things with the tax integration, the ITO, and the trial balance now is what we call it. Integration, and so that's been fixed. So definitely keep sending in feedback. The Windows app is definitely a lot younger than the Mac app, but it makes we're definitely doing changes all the time. So if you notice slowness, let us know for sure.
Right. And one other thing that I might point out is in the desktop app, at least on Windows, and I assume for Mac, if you click on the gear, you still can go into that sample company. So you could go in there and play around and try it out. If you want to get more familiar working with the desktop app, go ahead and download it at apps.com. If you go to apps.com and search QuickBooks Desktop, you will find it. And then you can click on the gear, just like in Chrome, click on the gear in the upper right corner, sample company, and then you can go into a sample company and play around with the desktop app and get more comfortable using it. You're not going to hurt anything, obviously, if you're in a sample company, which that's one of the things I would like, and I mentioned this to Micah, is on the Qbo Mobile App, on your mobile app that I showed you on my phone, I would like to have an access to a sample company there so people could play around with that as well. And somebody said that they'd like to be able to do AR and AP in one journal entry. You can already. That is available in QuickBooks Online. However, you really shouldn't be using journal entries for AR and AP very often. Instead, you use an invoice or a credit memo or a bill or a credit. But you can do that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close that poll question. Although, let me give you a couple more minutes or a couple more seconds because not everybody voted. If you need CPE credit, now's your chance. Put in that CPE poll word in the answer the poll with the keyword. Okay? All right. Gone. Okay, any other comments, Micah, that you'd like to say or questions that you'd like to answer?
I'm looking through some of the questions. I was answering a bunch of those. So I think that a lot of people were talking about the limited users inside of the mobile apps. That's something that we're definitely working on. We're working on a lot of enhancement to our user permissions. I mean, a ton of enhancements, like some things that'll make you really excited. I can't really talk too much about it, but you should start seeing those sometime in the near future, and then that will also translate over to the mobile app so that you can have your time tracking only users use the mobile app to do time tracking only or capture receipts and things like that. So I see a lot of questions about that, so that's probably the one that I'd address.
Okay, very good. Okay, somebody says the ability to reconcile accounts from the iPad. Micah, we can do that now if we go through Chrome. Isn't that correct?
Yes, so we've recently made some changes to the way QuickBooks Online behaves in mobile browsers. So not the mobile apps, but actually mobile browsers. Even on an iPhone, you can pull up a full Qbo or QuickBooks Online inside of Safari, or you know, if you're using a Windows phone like Chrome or IE or Firefox. And for the most part, it works really well. Of course, it's going to be smaller and a lot tighter, and you're going to have to zoom in and zoom out a lot, but you can use a full version of QuickBooks Online in your mobile browsers now.
Cool. Yeah, that's one of the things that I really like, is being able to do that. There's just one or two things that aren't there, like adding a new user, but I'd say probably 99.5% of it's there now, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that, because I do like to work on my iPad quite a bit, so it's nice being able to do that. So just to recap for you guys, remember there's 4 different ways kind of that you can get into QuickBooks. Through a normal browser on your desktop, whether it's Windows or Mac. You can use the Qbo desktop app that Mike has showed you. There's, again, one of those for Windows and Mac. You can get that at apps.com. Just search for QuickBooks Desktop, and you'll find it there. Download it, and you can use that. You can use the mobile device, or the mobile app, the Qbo Mobile App. It is free. It's included with your subscription. Actually, all of these are free. None of these are an additional cost. So remember that mobile app, they can take pictures of their receipts and things like that. Then you also, on a mobile device, can go through Chrome or Safari, go through a browser to access almost 100% of everything in Qbo like you would from your desktop.